Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and it's my fourth anniversary. My daughter Katrina returns to the show to talk about the most recent I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. But first, Donna and I are talking about the latest stuff. Welcome back, Donna.
Hey, thanks for having me, Robert, and
Yeah,
congratulations on that 4-year anniversary. I just had
thank
mine,
you.
so
I
I know
know.
we were around the same time line, sorta.
Yeah,
Um,
within about a month of each other, I think.
yeah, and you got way more episodes than I do.
I don't know. You're doing them weekly now too, so I mean,
Yeah,
you
man, but
you
you were
might
doing
creep
like
up on
two
it.
a week, man. I don't know how
Yeah.
you did that.
Well,
That's nuts.
my 200th episode is coming up in just a few weeks as well. Let's see. December 3rd will be my 200th anniversary.
Jeez.
So, or 200th episode, not 200th anniversary. Um but uh but uh but yeah, that one's a special one too, so keep an ear out for that one. Um
Absolutely.
but Yeah, no, 4 years is kind of crazy to think about, and that's why I have Katrina back for every anniversary episode for sure. It's because she's the one who, I started it with, and that
Hmm.
was the original conception of the show was supposed to be her and I, like I was supposed to be introducing her to horror movies
Right.
and everything, and so, um, but kind of fell by the wayside because she had school and work and everything, so her schedule just couldn't sustain just her and I, which was good because it brought me out to go and trying to find other people to talk
Right.
to and figure that because I can't do what you do. I can't just talk by myself because I would peter out like so fast. I'd be like, yeah, this movie is that thing. And then, yeah, okay, that's it. Goodbye, everybody. And so my podcast would be like 5 minutes long.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, mine are like anywhere from 30 to 40, so I don't stay around too long, as you noticed. But, I get in there, I do what I got to do, I root around, and then I get out. That's pretty
Yeah.
much what I like to
No,
do.
I'm amazed at what you can do like in terms of doing that because I'm just like I don't have like I would definitely have to make notes and I don't make notes ever for any of my shows.
Hmm.
So I think I would have to do that more for like if I were doing it by myself, I'd have to definitely have a lot more notes
I
going
mean, I
on.
do have some notes, but the
Yeah.
ADD is rampant, so I
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh
like
yeah.
all over the joint.
It's bad
But yeah,
bad enough when we talk to each other and I
I
talk to
know.
other people and stuff like that. That's why I'm just like I don't need notes, man. My ADD will like completely like cover up anything for that
Yeah, the
most of the
ADD and
time.
ADHD is
Yeah,
on mine on its own. So, I totally understand you. But me being an only child, it works. I mean, I spent a lot
true,
of time
true,
by
true.
myself as a kid. So me talking out into the ether to other people is perfectly fine. I don't mind.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
So,
Yeah.
we were both very transparent with each other before we got on here that we have bupkis.
Yes,
I mean, we
yes,
have
yeah,
some things, but it's
yeah.
pretty slim pickings this time.
Yeah, exactly. I will say there were no trailers that I saw
No.
this week. So it was weird. And I searched. I looked for trailers that were interesting or whatever. It's kind of hard to search for stuff. Like this is the one thing I will say about the internet today is that while you can generally find what you want,
Hmm.
you have to go through a lot of crap first.
To get to
Um,
it. Oh my
yeah, so there's like too much information now. And so it's yeah, so it was just there was
yeah.
nothing of interest anyway, nothing to actually bring to there. So I just have like a couple of random things that I did this week because I didn't even go to the movies. I didn't watch anything brand new or anything, so I literally have nothing. It's crazy. Um, so it's pretty funny. But I got a couple of things I've been doing this week, especially it's really just been the last couple of days that I could talk about, and then
Hmm.
because I'm still waiting for my car to get fixed, to get back to work and everything.
Oh
But other
wow.
than that, yeah. But let's go ahead and then start off with you. What you got for me this week?
So I got two things to start off with, and they kind of go together. I
Okay.
actually just watched because it's available for streaming, The Long Walk, the
Oh
Stephen King
yeah.
adaptation. I absolutely love this
Yes.
movie.
Okay. Yes,
Oh
I've been
my
wanting to hear your
gosh.
thoughts on this.
It was so good. I was worn out by the end of it, but
Yeah.
everybody acted their ass off in this movie. David Johnson is he needs to be in more stuff. I've only seen him
Yeah.
in two movies and I love both of
Yeah.
them. Um and not that Cooper Hoffman isn't great. He's great too, but there was just something about his
Yeah.
character. David Johnson's playing Pete, the character Pete. He just almost brought me to tears, and I am not a sappy person, but he was putting a whole lot of shit in perspective for me as of late with me being in the hospital and all that stuff. It just started
Yeah.
making me think about a lot of things and just kind of being in the moment and enjoying. Obviously, I'm not in the dystopian, walkathon, but
Yeah.
just getting through life and knowing that you have to just enjoy and embrace those moments. And I felt like he delivered a really, I don't know if he'll be nominated, but he did deliver an Oscar worthy performance and for a
Yeah.
movie that wasn't that long. And it didn't even feel depressing. Like I thought it was going to be sad and and it was in parts, but for the most part it kind of reminded me a little bit of Stand By Me and Shawshank. It had kind of a blend
Yeah.
of both of
Yeah.
those. But to go along with that, if you haven't seen it, it is available for digital streaming right now if you want to rent it, if you didn't go to the theaters. I know you did, but I did not.
Yeah.
But to go along with that Stephen King theme, we also it's Sunday when we're recording this, so Welcome to Derry is going to debut tonight on HBO. I am so excited to see this, and you have no idea. Like I thought it was mostly just about the kids in Derry, which it is, but then I also saw that we were bringing Dick Halloran in, like a younger version of that character
I
from The
didn't know that.
Shining. Yeah, and I just caught that because somebody was talking to him and he was having these visions, and I thought this is going to be interesting because we don't know too much about what he's seen prior to what he told Danny
Yeah.
Torrance at the Overlook. So this is going to be interesting that we're bringing a character from a different novel into this world and him already being able to see these visions along with these kids. Oh boy, I'm excited, but I'm nervous. I feel like I want to throw up. It's just, and it's funny because when they mentioned that the show was being in production and they were already about to do, I was like, do we really need a dairy show? We don't really need it. And now see the trailer,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I gotta see this now. So it's weird.
No.
My
Yeah.
thoughts have changed on it, but those are my two Stephen King kind of triple double sandwich thing.
Well, first let's go back to the Long Walk. As somebody who's read the book,
Hmm.
without spoiling anything, what did you think of the change at the end?
I actually like the change. I'm gonna
Right?
be 100% on that was way better. And
I think
you know who
I
wrote
well,
the
I was
screenplay?
JT Molnar.
Yeah,
I can't remember what else he did.
he did Strange Darling. That was such a
Oh yeah,
great
yeah,
movie.
yeah. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
And so he did a great job of changing it. I love when they make
I
these
thought it
changes.
was a perfect
It's a
adaptation. Like
perfect.
once I read the Wikipedia synopsis of the story and everything, I was like, "Oh, this made so much more sense."
Yeah.
Condensing characters and really just streamlining it in a way that made sense, and then changing the ending
Hmm.
in the way that it did. It worked so well.
I think it
Um,
leveled up that story and the
oh yeah,
camaraderie and the friendship. I really appreciated that ending. And it's like watching The Mist, people read the story and
yeah.
the way the story ends is completely different from the movie. And I actually enjoy the movie ending so much better. But
No,
it's just, it was unexpected because I didn't read
yeah,
anything about it. I knew you had seen it and we had talked
yeah.
that it was different. But man, I was floored and I
I'm
loved every
glad.
minute of
Yeah.
it.
I'm glad because yeah, it blew me away. I really enjoyed that movie. I thought it was fantastic. And then Welcome to Derry. Yeah, I didn't know about them bringing in Dick from The Shining.
Hmm.
But that's what I love about, like, with people doing these shows or these movies and stuff like that, is like it feels like, not always, it still feels like some people can get it wrong, but I
Hmm.
feel like more people are getting it right than they're getting it wrong these
Yeah.
days in terms of adapting Stephen King. It's not about, like, I will argue that I've always sided with Stephen King on the whole Shining thing about how he hated what Kubrick did to The Shining.
Hmm.
But and I still do because from what he changed the character of Jack Torrance, how he changed that character, like changed the inherent motive, like motivations, I guess, behind his craziness and everything like that.
And
It's like
also
in
his
the
redemption. We didn't get to see any of the,
yeah,
it's completely different in the book, and I totally can understand that because even though he was this kind of relentless psychopath, he
he
also
was
had a
crazy from
redeeming
the
arc.
beginning. You
Yeah,
know,
it wasn't
in the
like,
movie, he was crazy from the beginning, and there was no downfall
mm-hmm,
to redemption. You know, and so it was like he was just crazy the whole time, and it's
mm-hmm,
just like that's I get that, but it's getting away from The Shining, but like it just I feel like that some people are starting to finally go, okay, look, we could take these bits and pieces and maybe shuffle it around a little bit, maybe
mm-hmm,
condense things and make them a little bit better, and still make it very much like the book, keeping in the tones of the book without keeping to the exact letter. And
right,
um that's the best thing about adaptation is when you do that and you keep the inherent message and the character motivations and stuff like that the same or similar, at least to a degree. Because it's like, I mean, even things like Shawshank Redemption and Stand By Me, they're adaptations that twisted things and changed things
mm-hmm,
a little bit here and there. And but they still inherently are good adaptations because of the way they did it and the performances and everything else. So I don't know. That's a for me. Like I feel like The Long Walk and It Welcome to Derry feels like they're kind of in that same thing. Because I mean, did we need a history of Pennywise and Derry? No,
no.
but if we're gonna do it, like this seems like the best way to do it.
And
So
once again, they did the best possible thing, which is they focus on the kids. The it part one was always my favorite. Any
yeah,
form of that story because the kids fighting evil, there's something just much better about it. They're
yeah.
braver even though they're afraid, and they've managed to find the courage. One of the better adaptations I like, and a lot of people didn't, was the Salem's Lot that came out in 2024.
Yes, me
I
too.
thought that
Yeah,
was like
you
one
and
of
I
the
agree.
it's
That was
such a good movie.
fantastic.
I was
Yeah.
gonna watch that before Derry tonight because I wanted to see it
Oh
again.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this I agree with you. The
Yeah, I think
adaptation,
you and I are the only ones on that train.
we are, and that's perfectly fine. I do not
Yeah.
care. But it's just my other thing, and we had this discussion before. A lot of people just don't take time to let things breathe and just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
gel. They just automatically go in with their preconceived notion to go, no, I don't like it. So it's
Yeah.
like you don't have to base it on the original. You can like the original and like the new version too. There's
Yeah.
no issue there.
Exactly. Exactly. The remake takes nothing away from the original. That's why I'm
Exactly.
not against remakes because sometimes a remake will actually be fantastic and but still won't take away from the
Hmm.
original. Like, there's like I'll admit, I thought and this is going to be, completely sacrilegious for everybody and everything. And while it's not a great movie, I
Hmm.
was actually more entertained by the remake of Roadhouse than the original Roadhouse.
I still
I
haven't watched
do,
that.
I don't care for the original Roadhouse. I'm not, it's
But they
fine,
always act like it's
but
like,
they
sacrilege. Like
act
they're
like
just
they
you
act like it's a piece of peak cinema. And
yeah,
I'm like, come
and it's
on, it's
not.
not. It's a cheesy, dumb action flick. Come
Oh
on.
my
And don't
gosh.
get me wrong, there's people
Those
who
are
are
the
fans
best
of it that
kinds.
completely understand that. And
Yeah.
they're still fans of it. That's fine. I'm a fan of stupid cheesy action flicks. I love The Running Man, speaking of the original Running Man.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Stephen
Stephen
King
King
adaptation.
adaptations that weren't so good. But but that one works for me. But yeah, yeah, I just the remakes take nothing away from the original. The
Hmm.
original is still there. You can go back, rewatch it to your heart's content. There's I'm pretty sure there's a 4K release of the original Roadhouse that is awesome, packed to the gills with stuff. But so it's going nowhere, people. Trust me, in this age of awesome physical media and digital media, we got it. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. Um, but anyway, so following up with your Stephen King Kids in Peril, kind of motif there. I'm transitioning over to my first thing, which is Stephen King related. But so I started my Stranger Things rewatch in anticipation of the new season coming out
Hmm.
Thanksgiving. Um, I I was gonna try to watch it one episode at a time, like one per day. So starting it on October 23rd, if you watched one episode per day, you would finish the fourth season finale the night before the first section drops. So, um, but I just couldn't do that. I was doing something else, and while I was doing that, I was just kind of going, okay, yeah, let's watch the next episode. So I watched like I think the first three episodes the first night, and then I watched the last five episodes of the first season last night. So so I'm completely done with season one. I'll probably start in on season two today.
Right.
Um, but it's going back to it, it's fantastic. Like I just it's I you know it, it's been a while since I've watched it um fully because I would try to go back and rewatch it, but like it didn't really sit down and rewatch it. Now it's kind of rough. Like they found their footing fast in it, but at the same
Hmm.
time, like I feel like season four was the peak so far. Like season four was like literally the best season for me. Like they found their vibe and they all the episodes are kind of
Hmm.
longish and they really got a lot of good story going on in there. Um, but these earlier seasons I think are really good as well. And this season is great because it sets up all the mysteries we're going to find out from the along the way. So, but yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. It, anybody hasn't started their rewatch, you need to get on it quick because
Yeah.
it's coming soon, which is great. I'm glad to see a story be able to finish. It's almost what is it 9 years? It's 9 years from
Yeah.
when it originally started. All these kids, and it's only been 4 years in Stranger Things time.
Stranger
So
Things time. Yeah.
all these kids are in their like early 20s now.
20s. One of them is already having they're adopting a
Yeah,
baby. I'm like, dude, what is
yeah,
going on?
yeah. It's
Um,
crazy.
yeah, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm so excited to finally see it wrap up and,
Yeah,
come to an end, and all these other kids, I hope they branch out and do some different things. It's such a fun series, and I'll be honest with you. When I first heard about it, I was like, I'll give it a whirl. I really wasn't even remotely all that interested, but they kind of stole me from that first season just because it was like watching a Stephen
hmm
King adaptation and a choose your own adventure, and it had all of those 80s elements that we grew up
it's
with. So,
the Duffer Brothers managed to synthesize what it feels like to watch a Stephen King story directed by Steven Spielberg.
mhm,
And that's something that like Steven Spielberg has always kind of wanted to do horror. He's dabbled close to it a couple of times
right.
with both E.T. and Poltergeist coming out in the same year. Um, and little bits here and there, he can't help but family friendly it up. Which I think is exactly what, like, if Steven Spielberg had had the idea to do this, he could have made Stranger Things.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
but I love that the Duffer brothers came up with this and they came up with something great, and it's just I don't know, it's fantastic. I've been a fan since pretty much day one.
Mhm.
I jumped into it wholeheartedly because it looked great. It's the only opening segment I never skip because I just love that theme song.
That theme song is
Oh
so
man,
great.
it's Stranger Things is what got me into synthwave music. I don't know if anybody
Really?
else knows this, but I'm a huge synthwave fan now. But previous to uh, Stranger Things, I didn't know anything about synthwave.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but as soon as I heard it, I was like, "Oh my God, this music is fantastic!" And so I looked it up. I found out that the two guys that do the music, they're part of a four-person group called Survive, and that they make synthwave music. And then I was like, oh, I need to find out more about this. And so I delved into the arena of synthwave and just became a super big fan of synthwave. Um, so yeah, I'm just yeah, I love this show just for the various many reasons. So it fills my Stephen King, Steven Spielberg, synthwave, all that stuff just
Hmm.
coalesces all together. Great performances. I love David Harbour. Winona Ryder's great in this. All the kids are generally pretty good in this. Um, so it's fantastic. I'm a big fan. So I can't wait to get to season 2 now. So
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm glad you said that about, I did not know that you weren't a fan of synthwave. Do you like synth pop at all or just the
to a
synthwave?
degree, yeah, to a degree. It depends.
Okay.
Like some of my favorite artists you could consider synthwave or synth pop. People like Churches and Cannons.
Hmm.
They're very much in that synth pop um wave. Like the newer stuff. I don't really like I guess there was 80s stuff of synth pop and stuff
Hmm.
like that. It just kind of depends on the artist. I'm not I It's more newer stuff that I'm really
I
into.
was just
So
curious because, basically John Carpenter's synthwave as far as I'm
yeah,
concerned. And
exactly.
I didn't know
Yeah.
if you'd listened to like Tangerine Dream. They did a lot of soundtracks. Oh my God.
Yeah, I've heard some of their stuff in some of the movies, and yeah, no, I definitely need to go back and listen to more of their stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, John Carpenter's considered the godfather of synthwave.
Yeah,
Um,
I bought a couple
yeah.
of months ago, or like I think middle part of this year, I went and bought like a John Carpenter um soundtrack anthology thing, and oh my God, I
Yes.
love that album so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. I've listened
My
to that a couple of times on Spotify. So,
Yeah, my kids have been trying to get me to get more vinyl lately, so that was the
yeah.
first one, and then we usually try to go once a month and pick up something, but that was the first one on my. I was like, I'm buying this.
There's a what's it called? A documentary called The Rise of the Synths that came out a little while ago. I missed on crowdfunding it, but I did manage to snag a copy when they were selling
Hmm.
it online. And they it's a documentary about kind of like how synthwave became and stuff, and they talked to a bunch of different synthwave artists. Um, and yeah, they all bow down to John Carpenter.
Hmm.
So he's literally the godfather of the whole thing, and he even narrates part of the movie, and it's so funny. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, for
if you
sure,
like
100%.
if you
Yeah.
like nostalgic type synthwave, not synth pop, but there's an artist called FM-84.
Hmm. Yeah.
It feels like you're listening to any 80s horror movie. It's probably one of my
Yeah.
favorite ones. I'm so glad you said that. I didn't know that about you. Like,
Oh yeah, no, synthwave is like totally my genre. Like that's like when I felt like when I got into like Stranger Things and heard that and then spiraled into that, like that I fell into it heavy. Um so like I listen to I've listened to FM-84, but stuff like Mitch Murder,
hmm.
um who's it, Carpenter Brute, Gunship, um just Dance with the Dead. They're a little bit harder, but they're still synthwave. They're
There's
actually in
one
the rise of the synth.
Time Cop. I don't remember whether
Time
it's
Cop, yeah, time,
1984 or 83. I
yeah.
can't remember.
I think it's 84. Everybody's 84.
Yeah, but I mean, it's such a good time,
Yeah.
and it makes me feel nostalgic. I love it.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know why, but I grew up listening to synth pop a lot, and then
Yeah.
synth
For
wave is
anybody
just
who doesn't know, synthwave is an electronic music form that evokes nostalgia of times past, especially for us Gen Xers.
yeah.
It kind of reminds us of the 80s. It's not like 80s music at all. It just feels like it should have been in
Hmm.
the 80s. Because we didn't have music like this in the 80s. So that's what's funny about it is like, I mean, other than John Carpenter's soundtracks.
Right. Yeah.
Um, Beyond that, like, and I, to a certain degree, Tangerine Dream, like you said,
Hmm.
Tangerine Dream, John Carpenter, Wendy Carlos, people who were pushing the electronic music at the time. Um, but yeah, it definitely feels like um that kind of vibe of being in the 80s and the 90s a bit, and just that just general kind of nostalgic feel, while also just pushing electronic music forward at the same time. I've always been into electronic music. I'm a big Daft Punk fan.
Hmm.
Um, I've always loved electronic music more than anything else. I like music that generally doesn't have lyrics. So because I'm not a lyrics person, I don't really,
Right,
but don't get me wrong, I do like music that's got a good catchy hook to it too. I do like pop music, and anything that I listen to that is not just straight up pop usually has a pop feel to it. Like if I'm listening to punk music, it's usually a version of pop punk. Like something like even Nine Inch Nails, where he's an industrial musician, which is electronic again. But his is still in a pop format, because he's got the good hooks and the,
right.
choruses and everything. So I found that that's actually just where, like, I always lean towards pop in some form or another. So, um, but beyond that, yeah, synthwave. I don't
Now we've just given y'all a whole
know.
dissertation on synth
Yeah.
music. Nobody
check out
expected that on this
check
episode.
check out the documentary The Rise of the Synths. Let me see if it's available anywhere. Do, 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 do. It doesn't look like it's available anywhere. That's crazy. Um, it's really good though. I really enjoyed it. Um, so much so I bought it. Um, all right. Well, let's move on from that. What else do you have?
So, I have one more thing, and that is a film will be coming out soon. Well, I say coming out soon. It'll be in the process of being made. It's called The Big Kill, and it's got Skeet Ulrich, Alicia Witt, John Heder, and a larger cast of people. They don't have everybody listed yet, but it is a slasher film that is supposed to pay tribute to the Gen X group that we
Mm,
are, but they also said it's going to be set to popular 1990 songs.
interesting.
And so if you have ever seen the movie The Big Chill, if you haven't, I'll go ahead and just let you know.
Okay.
The story centers on a group of longtime friends and their families as they share a remote cabin following a funeral, and then a killer starts hunting the group. The friends are forced to confront the darkest elements of their past. So it is a horror slash comedy with those elements in it. So I'm a little excited when Skeet Ulrich. I'm gonna be excited to see it because of
Yeah.
him. But yeah, it sounds like it'll be something that'll be fun. Just because we haven't had a horror comedy set with a bunch of adults. Usually it's just teenagers, and this is kind of different.
Yeah, no, that's cool. All right. No, that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, Ski Ulrich and Alicia Witt. They're always great for
Hmm.
horror stuff. Alicia Witt was just in Longlegs, which
Long legs, and she's
I
no
was
stranger because she
surprised.
was an
She's so
urban legend
Yeah,
too.
she was an urban legend. Yeah. So yeah, no, this is sounds cool. Sounds cool. All right. Well, I my next thing is so I've been what was it? I just recently realized because I I like technology, but sometimes I can be a little tech backwards. Not all the time, but I used to be tech forwards. Um, but I just realized that I could plug in my like a hard drive or flash drive or anything else into
Hmm.
my TV. And I've always known this, that you can play movies off your TV and stuff. But I just realized that because I've got a bunch of digital copies of movies from um what's it called, from kickstarting things, so like from crowdfunding things, so like the In Search of Darkness movies. Recently I just got my digital copy of Only Fangs
Hmm.
from A&P Films. But they so I was like, oh, how can I watch this on my TV? Because I didn't want to watch it just on my computer. And I could have plugged in my computer, and that's what I was originally going to do, is just plug in my computer to my TV through the HDMI. But then I remembered, oh, I could just plug it in, plug my hard drive into the TV itself and just
Hmm.
use it like that. And then I remembered I had a smaller hard drive that would be even easier to plug in. So that's what I did. I was able to watch my movie. It was fantastic. So
Oh
then
wow.
yeah. So then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, I have a bunch of these kind of movies where I don't I like watching things easy for ease of use. I like watching things on digital. So generally speaking, most movies you buy, at least most from um the bigger places, they'll give you a digital copy for free
Hmm.
with the movie, which makes it easy. I just go to where I redeem it at, which is Fandango at home now, formerly Voodoo. But so I usually just go there and watch whatever movie I own, quote unquote own. Um, but I got to thinking about it. There's a bunch of stuff that I don't have digital copies of, that I was just like, what can I do? And I was like, I could rip them, but I needed to get a Blu-ray drive that I could rip them
Right.
from. So that's what I ended up doing. I found a quote unquote affordable uh, drive. It was like $100 after tax. Um, so
That's
it
still
was a
not bad.
no, no, and it's bottom of the line for what I need it for. But over the last couple of days, I have managed to rip 72 movies.
Holy goodness.
Yeah, of stuff I didn't have digitally. And then that way I have a digital backup of it, which
Exactly.
is good. Um, and so this way I can easily watch it on my TV. Like it's not I will admit it's not that much easier than just going over, grabbing the disc and putting it in. But when you do it this way, you don't have any of the things that pop up. You don't have to go through the menu. You just go straight to
Hmm.
the movie. So there is a slight more convenience to doing it than getting up, going over, putting in your disk drive and everything. Because I have a nice 4K player and everything. This is supposed to rip 4Ks too. I had to do some modification to the firmware of this thing to be able to do what I'm doing. I haven't been I tried a couple of different 4Ks, just not reading it yet. So I got to figure that aspect of it out. That was just Blu-rays that I did. Um, I'm not going to say what movies because I don't want anybody coming at me.
I know that's
Um,
right.
so, but I did was able to do what I wanted to do for the bulk of the things that I wanted to do already. And so that was what was nice. And now I have a good collection of stuff that I can watch easily, either from my computer or on my TV or wherever. It makes it a lot more portable, a
Hmm.
lot more. Now the files are big. So there is a way to compress them. I need to do that. It just takes more computer time, um, than doing it the other way. Like generally speaking, each movie took me anywhere between 15 minutes to a half hour to rip, um, which wasn't that bad. Um, so, and then, the to compress them, I tried to start compressing one the other night, and it was going to take like 3+ hours to do, for one movie. So, and I looked it up. There's no way to make it faster. It's
Oh,
just, it
wow.
is what it is. If you have I'm doing it on a small laptop. So that's part of the problem is like it has to do with the power of your computer. If you have got a better, more powerful computer, obviously it'll go quicker. Um, so, but yeah, I mean, it was kind of fun just, ripping things, checking them. There was some trial and error on it originally. I wasn't getting sound on them. I could play it on my computer with sound, but I couldn't play it on my TV with sound. So I had to
Oh,
figure out what to
wow.
do to get it to work, and I had to rip it with the different sound setting to make that work, and it was fine once I did it. Like once I figured that out, everything afterward was done. Um, but yeah, no, it was pretty nice, pretty easy to do. Um, and it now I've got a bunch of movies that I can now watch digitally very easily, just sitting here. I could just my drive is connected to my TV, and I just go over to the because I have a Roku TV.
Hmm.
They have the Roku media player, and that'll access whatever drive you have, and you can play. You can look at pictures, you can look at audio or listen to audio, and you can watch movies through that media player through there, and it accesses them all easily. The only one thing it doesn't do is like subtitles because most of my things will have like I downloaded all the subtitles with it too because I like
Hmm.
captions because I'm old and but I've been doing that. I've been doing that since I was in my 20s when like my son was little and he would talk a lot like during the movies and stuff like that. Anybody who has kids knows that kids like
Right.
to talk a lot when you're trying to watch a movie or they're just generally noisy. And so we would turn captions on so we could still understand what was going on the movie. So it's just something I got used to. Um, and so it's captions are generally on all the time. Um, but that's the one thing like I can't turn them on the TV. There's no option for doing that. I wish there was, because they all downloaded with it. But for whatever reason, it's just not
Hmm.
available, or I haven't figured out the setting for it. Um, but yeah, no, it's cool. I like being able to do this and like being able to have this digital backup, have the accessibility of being able to um just watch them digitally, just pull them up easily. And it also keeps me from buying as much from Fandango because that I like everything that I had that like I already had on disc but I didn't have a digital copy of on
Right.
Fandango I was going to eventually buy. But now I don't necessarily need to. I've got it just as easily through having ripped it. So and the quality's good. Like I was watching one of them last night and the quality was still good. So um it's really cool and I like being able to have that access to it. So but yeah, that's what I've I did last couple of days. I've been just because I haven't had anything else to do. I was just ripping movies on into digital. So
And everything's coming up Millhouse for you. I can see
I,
it now.
I
So much
wish.
easier.
I mean that part's easy. I'm still waiting for my car to get fixed. If I could fix my car,
Yeah.
that's the thing. If I could fix my own car, I would. But I mean, it's got body work that needs to be done, so
Oh
it's not
yeah,
something
yeah,
I can
yeah.
do easily. So, but yeah, and dealing and then finding out that I am having to go through all this because the guy was uninsured. So
Oh jeez.
just so yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, so that's my last thing. I think all you and I have left are comic books to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. What comic book are you bringing me this week?
So I'm bringing you one that it's kind of odd. I'm still, I think, two issues. I'm two issues in of a four-issue miniseries, so I still have two
Okay.
more to go. But so far, it's been really good. So this one is titled Golgotha Motor Mountain, and
Hmm. Haven't
it's
heard of that one.
weird. It's done by IDW, and it's a four-issue miniseries. It's essentially Breaking Bad meets the color out of space. So we have an asteroid that crashes in the home of these two brothers. I think they're called the Damnage brothers, and they're meth cooks, and they want to leave the area, the little rural area that they live in, but this asteroid ruins their latest batch of drugs, and they kind of have to pawn off the dust fragments of the meteor as a special kind of meth. This one is crazy. I absolutely love this. If they made a movie or a show about this, it would be hilarious. They have to fight the addicts already, because we already have meth addicts. Then they have to fight cannibal police. There are mutated neo-Nazis. It is insane. And they still are trying to get their product where they need to go because their whole thing is they want to sell and have enough money so that they can start over in what's supposed to be the beautiful utopia of Cincinnati. I'm assuming by the time they get there, it's not going to be what they think it is, but so far this has been a ride and a half. I mean, just things that they're encountering, it's nuts. I absolutely love this. I need this to be a show like pronto.
Well, I'm glad. I just while you were talking, I just looked it up, and I already actually own this from a Humble Bundle, so I'm
Yeah, you
definitely gonna
need
have
to
to look
read
through
it.
this.
It's so much fun and it's so bizarre. Just you got to read it. If you already have it, you
Yeah,
have to read it. And
yeah,
it's
I'll
got
have
like
to
a
check it out
little
for sure.
like a noir kind of thing going on to it too. So I think you'll like that kind of
Yeah, yeah,
added
definitely.
thing to it.
All right. Yeah. Speaking of noir, I mean, this is what's great. Today, you've just been leading me into my next thing, which has been perfect.
That's what I do. I set you up.
So the latest a story by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. I've talked about them a couple of times on
Hmm.
the show before. They put out a new criminal book. Criminal is like a title that they revisit off and on. But they have a new original graphic novel, their biggest one yet, of uh, it's a story set in the criminal world. Um, so it's like got three different stories that kind of converge at the end. And Criminal is this series of mini series that they've done where they tell stories, and sometimes they'll revisit characters. So you'll get stories. There's um, various people throughout this city. It's kind of I think they name it at one point. I can't remember, but I literally just reread the entire series too, um, because it's just it's a great series. But it's multiple series. They've been doing it for years.
Hmm.
It originally started out under the Icon banner over at Marvel, which was their like creator owned thing. Um, and then moved over to Image Comics now. But it's a fantastic series. The Knives is a really good book, but Criminal as a whole is a really good series to dive into. They've been reissuing the trade paperbacks with new covers and such over the course of this last year in anticipation of the new TV series based on it that's supposed to be coming out later this year on Amazon.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so I'm excited for that because Ed Brubaker himself has been a writer and showrunner on it, um, and so he's been heavily involved in doing that. He's previously worked with he's worked on a bunch of different things in Hollywood. He worked on the Batman cartoon that was on Amazon Prime also
Hmm.
recently, um, and he worked with Nicholas Winding Refn on the oh, what was the TV series? Too Old to Die Young. Um, so he's been working in Hollywood off and on, while also putting out really great um, like crime comics. Him and Sean Phillips have been partners for years. They do a lot of stuff. I could recommend anything they've made. Is fantastic. I was lucky. Like a couple of years ago, Humble Bundle, of course, put out a Humble Bundle full of their stuff. And it's just great. And I've since bought like all of their stuff is like in physical form too. So because just as much as I like having digital stuff, I do like having like physical copies of things I love. So
Exactly.
so just in case digital ever goes down, I do have physical copies of things. But yeah, no, so I highly recommend checking out Criminal. I know I haven't explained it hardly at all, but it's basically just like it's a series, mini series telling about um different main characters um getting involved in crime and criminal activities, and how that affects them, how it affects there's like legacy, like there's the Lawless family, and there's this the head of it was Teague Lawless, and then like his kids Tracy and Ricky, and how it affected them, and they're grown up and everything. And so it's got this whole huge thing about like it goes back and forth in time. Like there's been some stories set in the 70s and 80s, and there's some stories that are set in current time. Like the Knives is set mostly in current time. And like there's even references to the pandemic and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So it's like it's really fantastic. Um, so definitely check that out. Criminals, they're like their big magnum opus work. the thing they continue to go back to. It's just great. But the knives is the thing that most recently came out. It was supposed to be timed with the Amazon release, but they apparently pushed the show back a couple of months.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so but yeah, no, it's really really good. I that's it's one of my favorite comic book series of all time, and Brubaker and Sean Phillips are two of my um, absolute favorite creators. So, but that's all I have for this week. But before we move on to the rest of the show, why don't you let everyone know what you've got going on your show this week?
Oh, sure. So, this week will be the end of October, so it's the end of my Blacktober series. And I'm actually going to talk about Sinners because I've been dying to talk about this movie. So that's going to close out the Blacktober series. And hopefully it won't be too long, but I have a feeling this one might be a little long.
Well, I will have to get you on when I talk about it next year. So, because I have plans to talk about it early next year. So,
Well, maybe I'll
uh,
save some of the juicy tidbits till I talk to you. I won't give everything away until I talk to you.
there you go. Yeah. So I know you and I will definitely be talking about it in our top 10 of the year
Hmm.
a little bit. So, but yeah, I definitely want to devote an episode to it. Next year's episodes are going to be, I definitely have one more series of a director series that I'm doing.
Right?
But beyond that, I think I'm going to try to concentrate on mostly um, horror movies from the last few years
Hmm.
that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet because I've missed out on like talking about them because originally doing the double feature format, it made it hard to kind of like combine things.
Right.
But with now going to the regular one movie episode format, um, it's made it a lot easier. And I want to get back into talking about some of these things that I just haven't had a chance to yet. So
Yeah, well, I
that's
definitely will come to talk about Sinners.
yeah.
I'll talk about Sinners all day.
All right. Well, we'll definitely have to book that in and get that going. So, all right. Well, thank you again. Everybody, stay tuned to listen to Katrina and I talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer. And Donna, until next week, stay creepy. It's my fourth anniversary episode, and my daughter Katrina is back to help me celebrate. Today, we're talking about the most recent I Know What You Did Last Summer movie, with a dip into the first two as well. I previously covered those in an episode with Dev Elson that I will link in the show notes also. However, let's welcome Katrina back to the show.
Hello, it's been a
Hello.
while.
It has been a while. The last time you were on was back in July when we
Oof.
covered Megan 2.0.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's been quite a bit. You know, busy with schoolwork and
Yeah,
work, and mostly schoolwork.
yeah.
Uh, got to get that degree.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that being said, today we're covering the 2025 version of I Know What You Did Last Summer. I really wish they would stop doing that, where they make a sequel to an like a legacy sequel like
Yeah.
this and calling it the same thing.
Like
Like they,
Scream or Halloween.
yeah, yeah, it's frustrating because then it's like, okay, well now I gotta always call it I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025 or
Aren't they doing the same thing with the Christmas, what is it called? The new
Silent
Christmas
Night,
one?
Deadly Night.
Yeah. Aren't they doing
Well,
the same thing?
but that's not a sequel, it's a
Oh, I guess,
remake.
yeah,
So
I
that's
guess you're
fine.
right.
Yeah. So when
Okay.
it's a sequel, like when it's a legacy sequel like this, it's
Yeah.
always frustrating. It's like, please just make it like a new name.
Yeah.
Give it a reboot title of some sort. Just like stop making it. Okay. But anyway, all that being said, this is a legacy sequel to the first two I Know What You Did Last Summer movies, including appearances by both Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. Returning in their original series roles. Um, and one more person that we'll get to later on in the episode, which spoilers. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, definitely watch it. It's on Netflix now. So you can check out the first one's also on Netflix, so you can watch that. I'm not quite sure if I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is available anywhere. Let's see. We're gonna do a quick Google check. Oh, that one says it's on Netflix right now. Okay. So maybe they're all three on Netflix?
Maybe. I don't know.
Look, um, let's see. Nope, that's not the one that I was looking for. Did you just say it did the most recent one for some reason on there? Okay, so
Hmm.
I Still Know What You Did is on Netflix. I Know What You Did Last Summer, the original, is on Paramount Plus right now. So,
Okay.
so yeah, if you want to watch the trilogy, as it were, don't watch I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. It has nothing to do with these. Um, and from what I've heard, it is terrible. I've never watched it. Don't have any desire to watch it. um, but these two movies, though, the original two movies were great. Like I said, I covered them on a previous podcast. We are going to dip into this a little bit because it was interesting when this one came out. When the trailer dropped, I showed it to Katrina, and she was immediately in love with it.
Yeah.
She was like, "I've got to watch this movie." Now you can
Yes.
explain why.
Okay. So my mom and I, we watched the 911 show, and Jennifer Love Hewitt is like a central character in that show. And so I have only really known Jennifer Love Hewitt because of 911. And so, but I love her and I love her character. I love her acting. I think she's so great. And if she's listening to this, she's probably not. But if she is,
Yeah.
I love you and you're great. Keep it up. Anyways, um, but so then I didn't know that this movie was coming out. And so I don't remember what we were watching. Maybe was it Until Dawn? I think it was before the Until Dawn movie.
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure I just showed it to you at home.
No, 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 no. It was in the theater when I first
Really?
watched
Okay.
it. Yeah. It might have
Okay.
been Until Dawn. I can't remember for sure though.
Yeah, not sure.
But um but I remember seeing it going, what the hell is this going? And then seeing her and I was just like jaw dropped like yeah, I'm watching it. I don't know anything. I had never seen the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. And so but just for her I wanted to see it. So and it was
I-
worth it. I think it was a pretty good movie.
yeah, I agree. I think it was I was excited by that trailer and was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I had seen the previous two, obviously.
Mhm.
Um and so I did try to get you to watch them before we went to see the
Yeah,
movie.
I don't usually.
But yes, that is true. This is
My
not the only
trend.
time this has happened. Katrina has a habit of going with me to go see a sequel to movies she hasn't seen yet, and then she
Yeah,
goes back and watches those. So actually,
sometimes I
yeah,
sometimes do. Sometimes I
sometimes,
don't.
yeah, I would think most times you actually don't, but this time you
Yeah.
did. Before we went to talk about, before we came on to talk about this, I had her sit down and watch well she sort of half watched the first one. uh
Yeah. Well,
eh,
I was doing homework while I was watching that one, so
yeah,
I will say
and
I
then
had an excuse.
true, and then she sat with me and we watched the second one.
Hmm.
So she is finally caught up, but so like I said, we're gonna kind of dip into the first two, but mostly we're gonna talk about this first or this new one. And it's set in current time, with a whole bunch of new people,
Hmm.
um dealing with the um the aftermath of some horrific accident that they were involved in,
Hmm.
um and then a year later dealing with the fallout from that. Somebody's now stalking them and killing them.
Yeah.
um So I gave this a 4 stars on Letterboxd. I always like to mention that. Um, what I gave it on Letterboxd.
Hmm.
Um, and so yeah, so I said honestly, this was great, and I enjoyed everything about it, even the out of left field twist, which going back and rewatching the original two movie wasn't as out of left field as I thought. Um,
Yeah.
and make sure to stay for the mid credits because that's we'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, this felt very much like in a lot of ways very similar to the first two. Um, and it's whereas the one like this one deals more kind of with like the Richie kids, like the because like now since time has passed, a lot of rich developer things, and that's kind of a central part of the thing going on in this movie too, is there's a whole bunch of intrigue about the rich land developers coming in and making Southport this fancy beach town and kind of taking it away from the townies and stuff. Um, and so the central group of this is filled with mostly some of the next generation rich kids of some of these people who've been around and vacationing there and blah blah blah. Um, but one of their members is a girl who's a local there. Um, and so very much kind of feels like the opposite of in the first movie where it was like, well, no, I guess it was mostly town people, and then like Ryan Phillippe was the only rich kid, right? So,
Yeah.
so I guess it is kind of
Yeah.
similar. Um, but this one's they're all adults, the young adults in this one. There's no high schoolers and stuff. Um, but it's I thought it was generally I think that most of the actors are well done in here. Um, they are you generally general generally yeah can't talk today generally likable, um, and I feel like everybody's doing a great job. Like I said, what's his name? Freddie Prinze Jr.'s back as Ray, and he runs a bar now. And the one local girl who's part of their group, she actually works for Ray. Um, and it's she's she's part of the group, but kind of not part of that group. It's kind of like how like friends, like she was like the one friend that kind of drifted away because she wasn't really part of their crowd.
Yeah.
And then they get her back up, like they have this party and she's part of the party people and they don't realize it till afterward and she's cleaning up and everything and they're like, oh hey, why don't you come out and hang with us and everything. And so they go up and up to the dead man's curve or whatever, and then an accident happens, and then they all agree to, after trying to save the person, they and they can't save him, then they all agree to like just keep quiet, and then one of their dads covers up the whole thing because he's like the rich, powerful land developer of the area, so he's able to make it go away for all of them. But then the year later, they're all dealing with some of them are dealing like a couple of them have left, um and the one main girl who was involved with the one main guy, they were going to get married. Now they're split apart, and she's about to marry somebody else. So it's like in the course of this whole year, she split up and got together with somebody else, and now she's going to get married to this guy. And so there's a whole lot of like that, you know, I think more modern day, like interpersonal, like I don't know, weirdness that you would put in a movie like this. So
Yeah.
it creates a lot of like friction in the group for sure. Um, but things start to go haywire immediately. She gets a note that says, "I know what you did last summer," and then her fiance gets killed, and um, then they all start getting hounded and attacked, and then all the side people outside of the group get attacked and
Hmm.
killed, and then um, I don't know. It follows the very same formula and stuff like that. And then what they end up doing is after a couple of attacks of this sort, they figure out um that Julie James was part of this before, and so they go to her to go find out what they can do to stop this or whatever. And so then she agrees to help them. And I thought it was pretty good because she comes in and isn't just like kind of like you see with some of the legacy sequels where some people are just kind of out of it.
Yeah.
Or they're too much in it. I felt like this was like just enough of her in it. Like it wasn't too much. She wasn't there like the whole time, like guiding everything, and she wasn't like only a like a like a simple cameo.
Hmm.
And Ray the same way. I think Ray was a little bit lesser, because he wasn't as involved as much um throughout it all. But that's the general gist of it. They get her, things still go haywire. Um, More people of their friend group die. Um, and then uh but that's the general just before we get into some of the spoilery type stuff. What did you think of this movie? Because you had the excitement of going to like before you had no knowledge of the series
Yeah.
before this. You only had what you saw in the trailer. So then when you saw the movie, what did you think of it?
Well, I thought it was good. I don't remember what my initial thoughts were because it has been a little bit. I'm not usually good at keeping up with letterbox things, but let me check actually.
I do not see you on here, so you did
Okay, I
not
probably
rate
did
it.
it. Yeah.
No.
So, um, I mean, I don't remember anything being glaringly bad about the film.
Right.
I mean, like looking back at the first two films, it makes sense why Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character had the switch up that he did. And it was interesting seeing him acting in that kind of role because I've only ever known him in like the more like Prince Charming almost kind of roles.
Well,
Um,
yeah, in this movie, he's a little bit more rough, um,
yeah,
and stuff like that. He's just, he's
yeah.
a former fisherman turned bar owner.
Mhm.
So he's probably, got that whole, and he was probably a fisherman for a long time before he
Yeah,
decided to do the bar thing. So yeah, um, and yeah, you see him normally in like, I mean, really kind of the early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s, kind of,
yeah,
you know, you know not Prince Charming type, but like
yeah,
just the lead male
yeah,
and the
yeah,
like
yeah. That's what
the
I mean,
goofy
kind of
the,
thing.
the
Yeah,
goofy teen romantic comedy type
yeah,
stuff, like
yeah, exactly.
like She's All That and stuff,
Yeah.
and the Scooby Doo movies,
Hmm.
which
I used
those
to
have
watch
played
those all
it.
the time.
Yeah. Um.
Monsters
So
Unleashed is a better film. Anyways,
that has been in our house recently because my son has been showing my grandson the movies, and even he said, yeah, he loved Monsters Unleashed a lot more than
yeah,
the first one. Um, but yeah, yeah, no, I thought Freddie Prinze Jr. was doing a great job in this. I think, it gives him a little bit more meat to chew on when he is
yeah,
there. Um,
yeah,
his character in the first couple of movies. In the first movie, he's kind of like, you know, he's a red herring um for who the killer is. They keep suspecting that it's him, and
hmm,
that as the audience, you're supposed to think it's him because things keep happening and it keeps looking like it might be him. And in the second movie, he's not so much like he's kind of off, like he's just trying to get to her the whole time.
yeah.
Um, so um but yeah, I mean, and what did you think of Jennifer Love Hewitt? And I
Well,
almost called her
I
Jennifer Lawrence.
keep
Um,
doing that. You said that the other day
I
too.
know.
Um,
Anyway, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I think that she was great in this. I think that it was like a slightly different role for her to play than what I had seen her in
Right.
911. But
Because
even in
that's literally
911
your only,
she's
yeah,
yeah, but even in
yeah,
911 she's been put in like perilous situations and so she's had
yeah.
to use kind of that horror acting chops so that like for those kinds of things I won't talk about 911 because I know people haven't watched it, but she goes through something and she has to use that stuff for like a good portion of the series. Um,
Right.
so it was cool to see her like that. And I think my biggest thing from like if I'm remembering the movie correctly that I would probably have just a small complaint about is I felt like the original movies I felt a little bit more connected to the main cast, like the main group. Whereas in this more recent movie, I didn't have that same like pull, I guess. Like I was still rooting for them, as you do when
Right.
you watch a horror movie, but it just it didn't feel as compelling compared to when I watched the most recent two or the
The
original two, I
original
mean.
two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
think part of that is because the cast is not unknown, but was unknown to us for the most part.
yeah.
Whereas the casts of the first two were mostly known to you. And to me, of
Yeah.
course, at the time, the casts were fairly well known. I mean, Jennifer Love Hewitt, Ryan Phillippe, Freddie Prinze, um, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and Brandy, were all fairly well-known names
Yeah.
during that time period. And now even more so all these years later. Um, but the bulk of this group, I didn't know anybody in this of the main group. Um, like I'd seen a couple of them in various things. Like I'd seen um, one in the Bodies, Bodies, Bodies movie. Madeline Klein, who's like one of the she's basically the main person. She was in Glass Onion.
Hmm.
Um, Sarah Pigeon, I hadn't seen anything. She plays Stevie. Tyreek Withers, he hadn't been in anything that I had seen yet.
But he's been
Um,
in him now.
but he's been in him now, yeah, which he did a great performance in that. Um, and then yeah, I hadn't seen anybody like any of this younger cast. I hadn't seen any of them. So um like not well enough, like I'd seen them in one other thing, and so yeah, they weren't familiar at all. So I
Hmm.
think that definitely is one of those things where like it's a double-edged sword, like because even at the time when the first I Know What You Did Last Summer movie came out, um they were all fairly well known. They were teen-ish, young heartthrob type actors that people
Yeah.
knew fairly well. Um,
Well,
and
isn't
so
this cast of characters is also in college, aren't they? Like,
yeah, they're all adults. Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know if they were college or after college. I think they were all after college age,
Okay, yeah,
like
maybe.
young 20s.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think you're right. They
because they
were they
all
were a
seem to
lot
have
older than
yeah.
even the original
Well, yeah,
characters
because the
were,
first
and
one was in
so
high school while they were in high
yeah,
school, and the second one was in college.
yeah.
So, which
But they
was
were like
kind
it
of
was only a year later, so it was like
yeah. And that happened a lot with those kind of movies. The first Scream was in high school, then it was in college. And then,
yeah,
and so they always did that where a lot of them were in high school. I think it's kind of like it hasn't fully moved over because obviously when they redid Scream, when we get back
yeah,
to Scream 5, the main cast of the young kids are all in high school again and then in
yeah.
college again. But I think that it's
I think there
I
was
think
less of
that
a need for that coming of age almost kind of
yeah.
story, I guess is what they
Well,
were
and I think that
trying
they
to do.
figured that even the teenagers could relate to like, the slightly older than them people.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Just making it more accessible to everybody.
Well, the thing
Um,
is that the I Know What You Did Last Summer movie, like, is the Scream movies, I feel like have always just been kind of an enigma. Like they've always been popular. Like it doesn't matter
yeah,
what generation you come from, but I feel like for the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies, that has that has grown with its generation. And so maybe they were trying to make it more relatable for its original
may,
watchers.
Maybe,
And
maybe
that's why they chose an older cast.
could be. I'm not sure exactly why. This was directed by Jennifer Caton Robinson, who had previously um, been the director of a Netflix movie called Do Revenge, which I've heard good things about. I haven't seen it
I
yet.
watched that.
Yeah, was it good?
It was good.
Yeah, that's what I heard. She's also the co-writer, which is a black mark for her, but she's the co-writer of Thor: Love and Thunder. So a lot of people
Oh.
will dismiss her for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, dang.
So, yeah. So that's unfortunate,
That's tough.
but yeah.
Not that the movie
Um,
was well,
no. But this movie was co-written. She came up with the story with Leah McKendrick, who um looks like she was a writer on a movie called MFA that I've heard about that I haven't seen. And then they came up with the story, and then Jennifer Caton Robinson and Sam Lansky did the writing of the movie. They wrote the screenplay. So, um, so they, so she's all over it. She wrote it, directed it, produced it as well. Um, so she was all over it. Um, which is great. I think that's cool that she's, it was at least the story was by women, directed by a woman.
yeah.
It's great to see more women getting chances to do these kinds of movies, and I think it turned out great. Like, I mean, honestly, it you
Well,
know,
it had more women too in the main cast. They had
three
three,
women and two guys,
two
yeah.
guys, yeah.
So yeah, well, they because in the first two movies is like two girls, two guys. They balanced it, exactly, and everything. And this time they kind of
That's
counterbalanced it a little
true.
bit, but yeah, they added one extra
Yeah.
girl,
The
which is
diversity
fine.
was
I think,
also
yeah.
better, like even
Oh
more
yeah,
so than even in the second one. So
yeah, for sure.
because the main I don't know actually what the main girl's ethnicity is or
Yeah,
second main girl. I don't know.
yeah, Ava. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't know. I again, I think it was really well done. I think the central mystery was interesting. Um, I mean,
She's half
it's not.
Chinese.
There you go. So, it's. I think that it's an I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. I don't think it's trying to be anything that it's not. It very much fits in with the first two movies if you like those. And they're not the best movies in the world. But they're still, I think, a lot of fun. Um, and um, they are what they are. They're, 90, 90s post-Scream slasher movies, and based on a Lois Duncan novel.
Hmm.
But it's for me, I thought it was a lot of fun. I actually enjoyed the killer reveal. At first, like I said, when we originally got in, I was like, it's a left turn. Um, but upon rewatching the original two, it wasn't as much of a left turn as I thought it was. Um, and so we can get into that if you're ready for that. All right. So, first we find out the killer that their killer is their friend Stevie, the townie girl who works for Ray at the bar. And um so, she's been doing all this stuff. It's you begin to question it. You're like, okay, well, there were some times where she was there and everything like that.
Yeah.
And that's because in the Scream style, there was a second killer.
Hmm.
So, which turns out to actually be Ray in this one.
Yep.
And basically, he's just tired of, everybody treating their town like shit. And,
Yeah.
um, so it felt
He's
like a left.
always,
Go ahead.
oh, I mean, you can,
Well, I was just gonna say it felt like a left turn, but when rewatching the original movies, first in that first one, he was the red herring one. He's always kind of had this like, you know, bad attitude about everything. So you can see where like years of this like pressure of being like just looked down on and everything else. I'm not saying that that's necessarily a good motivation, but again, killers don't need good motivations to start killing,
yeah,
So it didn't, you know, even though I thought originally it was a left turn, I still enjoyed it because it was unexpected
yeah,
to a degree that he would finally be the killer or one of the killers. And so I thought that was really good. And changed it up because there's always a lot of times where you watch these series and like I know there were people who wanted Dewey to be one of the Scream killers and stuff like that or um oh God, what's her name?
Nev,
No, Courtney Cox's character. I
oh,
can't remember her name now.
Gail,
Um, Gail. Yeah, they wanted Gail to be one of the killers and stuff like that. And it was like, yeah, I could see potentially that being a fun aspect of it, but again, it just would betray the character. And I felt
yeah,
like everything they'd been through, it would just be like, no, why would they turn all of a sudden into a killer? Whereas at least with Ray, like, whereas I said, I couldn't like at first I would be like, okay, that doesn't quite fit the character, but like upon reflection, like after
yeah.
having rewatched the first two again, I'm like, you know what, it actually does fit with the character.
Yeah, I
Um,
was I was gonna say that like in the second movie you see like for sure that he has this like really odd, like almost overly attached connection to the town of
right,
Southport. And like to have that kind of be the central point for why he does what he does in the newest movie, makes everything kind of make sense if you look back
yeah,
because that connection can turn into like from love to obsession real quick.
right.
And so,
Well, and just seeing the town that you loved in the way that it was being destroyed and changed in a way that one potentially takes away your job and
yeah,
two destroys what you loved about that town, I can understand that motivation. It's not a great is no reason to kill, but I can understand at least in the terms of this,
yeah, it's his
franchise and this horror,
character. Yeah,
yeah, his character turning like that and and none of these kids were anything to him. He doesn't care about any of these people, and he was doing it to like scare people and maybe stop these land deals from happening and everything, and Julie getting in the way of things wasn't what he wanted.
yeah,
But he also wasn't gonna, back down from that. So, and in the end, they managed to, kill him. I think Stevie gets away. Um,
yeah,
and so she's still out there and both of the main two girls managed to live. They're the only two who managed to live out of their friend group. It was a great sequence of them like basically kind of washing ashore and just kind of like um shakily trying to um you know put things together at the end.
yeah.
um but then we get the mid credits scene because we get the credits and then we get the mid credits and then you see Brandy from I Still Know What You Did Last Summer watching a news report about Ray and all the killings and stuff like that, and she's like, "See, I knew he was going to go bad," or something like that, something to that effect. And so then she gets a knock at the door, and there's Julie, and they commiserate real quick, and then Julie shows her a um an envelope with I don't remember what it said
Let
on
me
the
look.
note. But there's a note in it, and Brandy's basically like, "All right, who do we got to go fuck up?" Um,
Love it.
and she was like, and Julie James is like, "I was hoping you would say that." and then that's where it ends, credits roll and everything. So it kind of sets up another sequel, and fingers crossed there'll be another sequel. Because I thought this one was fun, and it would be nice to see, Jennifer Love Hewitt and Brandy, kicking ass against somebody else. Um,
It
so,
says
and
it isn't
obviously,
over.
yeah, it
The
isn't
note
over.
says it isn't over.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, and maybe it was Stevie from, messing with them or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but I think that it's like I said, it's a fun movie that I think takes itself seriously enough while not being overly serious. It's a good sequel to a good franchise that um wasn't the best to begin with, but had a couple of decent movies, I think. Um, and I'm glad they didn't try to overplay it too much. They got a couple of good movies out of it, and they tried to make a third one that was completely wholly unconnected from the original two.
Yeah.
And realized, yeah, let's not try to make any more. And then when they did finally decide to make one, they made this legacy sequel that was actually pretty good. So like I said, if you haven't watched it, definitely go check them out. Like I said, the first one's on Paramount Plus, and then the I Still Know What You Did and the current one are both on Netflix. So you can watch all three of them if you have those two streaming services. Um, and if you don't own them like I do. So, um, but yeah, no, they were a lot of fun. Um, I can't think of anything else I really want to talk about. Um, Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to mention? I
Mm,
might have missed.
I don't really have anything.
All right. Um, well, that's all I have then. But yeah, go check them out. They're a lot of fun, especially this new one. Um, I think, let's see, on Letterboxd, it's got a 2.4 average rating, which I think is way too low. Most of the people that I follow seem to have given it at least 3 stars and above. Um, so, you know, most people seem to enjoy it. But you know, if you've watched it, let us know what you thought of it. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, what you didn't like about it. Um, you can leave comments on the usually anywhere on the whatever app you're listening to. There should be comments enabled, so you can leave comments there, or just message me over on Instagram. That's usually where I'm at. But otherwise, Katrina, do you have it anywhere where people can find you online?
Um, I used to. I don't really use anything a lot that much anymore.
Yeah,
But
same.
if you are interested, you can go to my Twitter. Um, and I have a pin, or it's at RCKMNKY, and you can
Okay.
find all my stuff there
Okay.
on a pin tweet there. So
I will link it in the show notes. You should just, make yourself a link tree or something like that so you can do it that way. It'd be
yeah,
easier.
maybe at some point.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again for coming on the show.
No problem.
You and I had envisioned this as a father-daughter podcast
Hmm.
in the beginning, and that's why I have you back every anniversary episode, so that we can, talk about something new in horror that you haven't seen or had just seen, or whatever. So it's always good having you on and introducing you to,
Good being here.
yeah, introducing you to fun new horror that you haven't seen yet. Um, so, all right. Well, thanks again, and we'll hopefully, you'll be back soon enough.
Yeah.
You're coming back for our annual holiday episode.
Yep.
So, you and your brother. Hopefully, we can coordinate that since he's moving out
Oh
soon.
yeah.
Yeah. So
That'll be
we'll
a
have to
busy
get that figured
time
out.
for us too. So.
Yeah, we may have to. Well, I was gonna say we may have to record it early, but we have to wait until the movie's out to be able to
Yeah.
watch it to go see it. So anyway, but all right. Well, everybody, thank you for sticking with me. If you've stuck with me all 4 years of this so far, and I
You're
hope
the
you
goat.
all yeah, I hope you guys stick around for a lot more. I'm not planning on going anywhere. I may have a very small audience, but those of you who listen all the time, I appreciate it very much. It makes it mean a lot that there's even a few of you, a handful out there that want to listen to me every week and listen to what I have to say about horror movies. But that's about it. And until next time, stay creepy. Thanks for listening. Creepy and Geeky is produced and hosted by Robert Clark. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.